Merry Christmas, everyone! Welcome to Screams After Midnight. I am Peter, and joining me, as always, is Tim.
Santa drew first blood.
This is a horror movie podcast, and of course it's December. We're doing Christmas horror movies, and today we're doing a film that has like 5 different titles. So the title that's actually on Shudder, which is where we access this, is Deadly Games, but the other most common title, the original title, is Dial Code Santa Claus. I want to point out another couple of titles though, because apparently it's called Game Over officially in the US and the UK, despite the fact that Shudder says otherwise. So Game Over is also a title, and I was looking through the other titles on IMDb just because I was curious, and the one that stuck out to me that I thought was pretty funny is in Peru. It was called Little Rambo's Fantasies.
I mean, it's accurate.
So, what is this movie? You're thinking to yourself, what is this movie we're doing? This is a French film that was made, and it came out originally in 1989 at a festival, although it didn't actually get a theatrical release even in France until January 1990. Because January is the perfect time to release a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
The longest possible time till next Christmas. But that's the thing. Here's the weird part of this. This movie did not get a release outside of a few specific countries until 2018. 2018 is when the US release finally happened on disc. Late 2019 is when it went on, I think, Shudder, or at least other VOD services. So this was one that was largely inaccessible for most people, and was definitely kind of a hard to find thing until the last couple of years. So we're here today to talk about this. Neither of us had seen this before. This is a first time adventure into this film. And the one thing I knew about this going into it is that the producers of this wanted to sue the Fox for Home Alone, because they felt like it was taking too much of their film, which is actually kind of interesting to get into it, thinking about that, because I was kind of looking for Home Alone comparisons. I will say, first and foremost, before we talk about the quality of the film, I can definitely see the parallels to Home Alone, and it's kind of funny that it came out right before Home Alone did. Although I'm pretty sure Home Alone had to have been at least written before this came out. I don't. I mean, if I was judge and jury, I would not give them a victory. I would say that no, Home Alone, while there are definitely parallels between them, I think there's movies that intentionally rip off other films that are far closer to the movies and didn't get sued than this is to Home Alone, or Home Alone is to this. But yeah,
No, I would agree with that. I mean, basically you would be saying like, any movie where like a kid is on the run from someone that breaks into their house, like that's a pretty broad thing.
Yeah, and he does set traps, but the traps are very different to those of Kevin McAllister, but I'm sure we'll make a few comparisons as we go. The basic gist of this is that, yes, it is a kid who... He's not quite home alone. His grandfather's actually in the house with him the whole time, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
But unlike Home Alone, it's not a couple of thieves. It's actually a deranged man who is obsessed with children and also might want some revenge, who breaks in dressed as Santa Claus, and the kid has to defend himself. The kid in this case, though, unlike Kevin McAllister, is a bit of a genius kid who, like, you know, he works with cars, he works with computers, he's very good with technology. He's already got like a camera system set up around the house. Obviously his mother's quite rich, because it's basically a mansion that he lives in, and he's got like trap doors already set up. He's got a lot of like gadgets and gizmos, tons of toys. But yeah, it basically yeah.
Well, he's doing stuff on here that like seems very dated to us now, but like in 1990 or 89, like holy shit, like talking to someone on a computer, that's like unheard of, you know?
Well, I actually questioned at one point, because obviously it's a French film, so reading the subtitles, when he's talking about talking to someone on the computer, they mention message boards, and I was like, whoa, that's so super ahead of its time. However, I will say this. I'm pretty sure the translation for the subtitles was probably done in 2018. So I wonder if the original text or the original dialogue in French, well, essentially that's what he's talking about. I wonder if like the actual term is dated, but the translator, because it's in modern vernacular, so we'll make it easy to understand. So I wondered if the use of the phrase message board is just the subtitler and the translator who's done that, and it's not actually like that forward thinking in terms of its terminology, but
Yeah.
still, yes, he's very, very, very bright. He's got high IQ. We hear about that early on in the film. He also has the most ridiculous haircut known to man.
Yeah.
It is a very mullet-esque haircut. So we'll leave that there. But yeah, it is a movie about a kid going to war with Santa, but it is a horror movie, and it does have a bit of bite. The Santa in this is actually quite creepy, and you do believe that he might murder this child if he gets his hands on him.
Oh, totally.
It's very different to Home Alone in that sense, where it never... Home Alone is always a kid's movie.
Totally, yeah.
The bad guys are sinister enough for a kids movie, but you always have that comfort of this is a Hollywood kids movie. He's going to win, right? He's going to win by the end of the day.
When you're watching Home Alone, you're never afraid that the sticky bandits or whatever are gonna snap Kevin's neck or impale him on a spike or something.
Whereas here you do. But the weird thing about this movie, the thing that really sort of makes it stick out above everything else, is it is a real movie. It looks like a proper film. I mean, at the time, this was clearly something that people making it were passionate about. But the thing that makes it stick out is just how much it actually... It's funny that they wanted to sue because it was, they felt Home Alone was ripping off, because this takes so much inspiration from action movies from the 1980s.
Yeah.
There's a rip-off of Eye of the Tiger playing at the start during a montage.
Yes.
And the montage, right down to the final shot where he kind of like puts the gun over his shoulder and walks out of frame, is the scene from Commando when Arnold's like gearing up, because he's putting on like the war paint and he's like strapping things to his chest and he's putting the vest on. It's that scene from Commando. And then there's several like other moments like that later on where there's like emotional montages of him like mourning like something, and like we'll get into all this in more detail, but it really plays up with, and this is the thing, it plays it up with dead sincerity. It's not trying to be a comedy or anything like that. I know it's an interesting, it's one of those, so one of the things we often talk about with foreign films, especially Asian films, but this applies here as well with this French film, is that sometimes they do this thing where they'll strike a balance of tones that an American film never would be able to do. Whereas this dark, sinister, scary, like psychopath dressed as Santa stalking a child, and then it sort of like veers into over the top like action movie like referencing, but somehow makes it fit, and it fits because it's like a kid's like imagination and how he's like viewing himself in the situation as he takes this war to this evil Santa. Anyway, that's the basic gist of the film. We'll talk about it more as we go. Tim, how did you feel about Dial Code Santa Claus, aka Deadly Games, aka Little Rambo's Fantasies, aka Game Over?
So I enjoyed it. I feel like I might be a little disappointed just because I had really, really high expectations. Because this was a movie that I had wanted to watch last year, and then I think it might have like come out or maybe was like, or maybe we just thought of it just a little bit after we were doing our Christmas movies, that we just kind of missed it, and then like you said, don't want to like watch it after Christmas. So
it's weird.
But like it is one that I'd been hearing about for a while, for the last 2 years or so, that like, oh my god, this movie is insane, or oh my god, this is so crazy, like everyone's got to see it, it's like this nuts bizarre movie, I can't believe it. And I think I forget what the comparison a lot of people make, but I think I'd heard people say, oh, it's like Die Hard meets Home Alone, and when you have those expectations, you're kind of like, okay, baby, I gotta see this. Having finally watched it, it is definitely entertaining, and there definitely are sequences where you're like, wow, that's not expected. But then there are also like some kind of slower sequences, and I think like you're saying, that kind of shift between tones, like there are instances where it full on turns into like a legit action movie, like not even like a parody of an action movie. It's like, oh no, this is just doing like what you would see in an action movie. It's just the fact that it's like what, like 8-year-old kid or something like that. And like I think those scenes are so fun and entertaining, and I was expecting the whole movie to be like that, but then I think there's like a lot of scenes in between where that stuff kind of stops, and then like, and it almost goes back into this reality setting of like, oh no, he is just a kid, and like he's like crying and stuff, and then it gets kind of real, and it's like I don't know if that stuff always worked for me. And then I think there's like some weird editing stuff where like something will be happening and then like all of a sudden they'll be like in a completely different place, and you're just kind of like, all right, what just like how did they just get here? You know what I mean? Like
there is a moment sort of early Act 3 where it cuts away from like a tense moment, and then all of a sudden there's a moment where basically the Santa's got him, and then the next scene he doesn't have him anymore, and I was confused as to what, like, how did he get away? Like, what happened?
Yeah.
there is a weird transition at one point that I did notice.
Yeah. So like there's a few things like that like doesn't completely, you know, make me love it, I would say, but at the same time, you know, there isn't anything like it. It was definitely an experience watching it, and like, yeah, the action scenes like are very legitimately entertaining. So I did have a fun time with it. I don't want to sound too harsh, but yeah, it just wasn't like the perfect movie that, you know, I was hoping to get.
Yes, I didn't have as many expectations outside of hearing that they wanted to sue Home Alone. I didn't really know anything about it, so I went into it fairly cold, and you know, every time it cut to this guy who was going to become this evil Santa, I was like, this is actually kind of creepy. The way it's kind of showed him just kind of staring at kids, and like really, it's really setting up this. And I was like, I was starting to get worried. Is this going to be Home Alone meets Mars? Like, what the hell? Like, what am I getting into here? There's actually like a sinister nature to the bad guy, which is oddly refreshing in a movie like this. It definitely does some things that a Hollywood movie would never do. Despite the fact that it's clearly in love with a lot of Hollywood action movies, like whenever it starts to get into these moments with the kid, like it's relishing in doing scenes from Commando or doing scenes from, you know, there's a lot of like First Blood, and I was actually joking a lot through this that, okay, you can sort of argue that Home Alone could have taken some inspiration from this, although part of me thinks, because Home Alone came out in 1990, so I feel like this is like a bit too close for it to actually have really taken anything from, but there was a joke in chat about it basically being Prometheus in a weird way, about the kid believing in Santa only to find out that the thing he believes in is actually dangerous and deadly, and like, it was like a really amusing like way of like trying to like fit it to Prometheus. But I was actually, without saying too much, we'll get to more spoilers, but there's actually a lot of John Wick in this movie, and that's a weird thing to say, but there kind of is. I mean, obviously he's not skilled and he's not doing like fancy, you know, like martial arts and gunplay or anything, but there is a key part of this that's very John Wick. And
that definitely.
Yeah, and it's just kind of like, oh, it's almost like a lot of like filmmakers like watch this movie and like they've been taking from it for the last like 3 decades as they've been making movies. I liked it quite a bit. I think as it went on, there's definitely some slow moments in the pacing. I will say that, and a couple of weird editing instances, but I think it's so unabashedly what it is, and the fact that it's willing to go into like these montage moments with the kid, like, and it's funny because it's all in the fact that the guy's dressed like Santa, and I think he's legitimately creepy because he's creepy before that, and there's instances where you think he might just be a psychopath. But I think the moment where he like takes like I think it's just like white spray paint, and he just like paints his hair white, like that is legitimately like a taxi driver-esque scene where he's just looking in the mirror and he's sort of smiling as he's like spray painting his hair white and his beard white, and it's like, this is actually kind of disturbing, and he feels like an absolute nut job, and like there's a genuine menace to him like going around the house, and obviously there's a coming of age thing because at the start of the movie, because I think he's 10, and his mum's like saying to like her co-worker, like the guy she's dating, she's like, you know, like I want to make sure that he still believes in Santa this year, and he's like, well, you know, he's almost 11, like, you know, that's just kind of a normal age to like kind of be grown out of that, and she's like, nah, but I you know, I still believed in Santa when I was 11, so I really want him to still believe for a year or two more, just to, you know, for the magic of Christmas to still sort of survive. And the whole movie's about the harsh reality of Santa not being real, and Santa actually being this dangerous thing. Because she says something to him early on, where she's like, "Oh, you can't be awake when Santa gets here. If you see Santa, he turns into a dangerous ogre." And of course, so obviously the kid blames himself for everything that happens because he believes that Santa's acting the way he is because he saw him, and that's what, you know, it did this. So it's this weird dark coming of age element to it. But the Christmassy side of it, other than of course the fact that he's dressed as Santa, is that I think the fact that he starts like turning his like toy weapons that obviously aren't real weapons he starts turning them into weapons. There's a whole, without getting into it too much, there's a whole scene where he essentially takes like a toy grenade, which is just hollow, and fills it with stuff to turn it into actually I mean, not like an actual, it doesn't match what a real grenade would do, but yes, it essentially turns it into something that will explode and does have something in it that'll cause a problem. Or he, takes a dart and sets it on fire, so the dart will actually do some damage. Or so, like he does these things, and it's like, oh, he's actually taking his toys and fighting back with them. And something about a kid fighting back against a bad guy using his toys is very Christmassy feeling, despite the fact that it is actually quite dark and dangerous in a lot of ways.
Yeah. And the difference, between this and Home Alone is like, you feel like the stuff in this movie is actually dangerous and can do damage, while Home Alone is kind of working on like cartoon logic where, you can light someone's head on fire or hit them in a paint can and they'll get up a second later. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, as well, I mean, the kid in this actually does get a little injured at one point, and it actually feels genuine. And the other thing, of course, is that in Home Alone, like, the bad guys are entertaining. They're really funny. Like, Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern are both really entertaining to watch. They might even be the best part of the movie. Like, you're loving them bickering. You're loving, like, Joe Pesci touching the warm handle and, like, patting his head when they get set on fire and all that. All that stuff is actually really funny. It makes them very likable, despite the fact that they're the bad guys. Here, the bad guys, just the sinister, brooding, like what's he going to do to him if he actually gets a hold of him? You really don't know for sure. Because at the opening scene of the movie is him walking down a street and like staring at a bunch of kids who are playing in the snow, and then getting upset when they all kind of leave because they think he's creepy, and it's like, oh, this guy's unhinged. Like.
Yeah, and it's not just like that he wants to maybe necessarily kill him, but you get the sense that he does kind of want to play this game, like a deadly game, if you will. But like, there's kind of like this toyingness.
To put on my my analytical hat here for a second, I think the point of the villain here is that he's someone who never did grow up and never got the childhood he wanted, so he's still trying to be a child.
Makes sense.
So I guess, I mean, I don't think the movie's saying this too, specifically, but the idea being that maybe young Thomas here, our main character, if he doesn't actually grow up and like learn that all these things aren't real, and he could become this type of character. He could become someone who has been too coddled and turns into someone dangerous.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's about a stretch, maybe, but it definitely does feel like he's someone who's trapped in his childhood, where he wants kids to play with him like he's still a kid, and then when they don't, he gets angry and lashes out. So
yeah,
I don't know. That's the sort of gist I was getting. Every time the movie was starting to slow down, or I felt like it was slowing down, it then did something else to win me over again. I do think this is a bit of a gem. I think if you like movies like this, if you like Christmas horror, or you like just badass kids in Christmas movies, I think this is like a gem because it was hidden to most people for so long.
Sure.
That I would recommend checking it out. I mean, if you can squeeze this in before Christmas. It's set on Christmas Eve. This is maybe a nice thing to go along with Die Hard and Home Alone if you watch those. This is this could go in between them. This could be the bridge between the two films.
Yeah, no, it's a pretty easy watch. It's not super long. And again, I don't want to sound too harsh, like, because there's a few things here and there, but overall, again, I think it is pretty entertaining, especially when it goes into those action sequences, and like very unique. Again, like I can't really think of something necessarily exactly like it. Like, again, people make comparisons to other stuff like Home Alone or whatever, but like it does still feel like it's doing something different, and it is being more sinister and has that horror angle while also still having like a lot of really fun sequences. And I'm not as big an action guy. There's definitely action movies I like, and I can see some of the more obvious references, like like, I don't know, Rambo stuff or whatever, like just kind of having that look, and things here and there, but it's the action stuff still worked for me and still was really entertaining, I thought.
So I do recommend this. I think if you like the sound of everything you've said, I think you'll get some fun out of it. And I watched this right after Jack Frost 2, and this was such a pleasant film after that one, because so much better. So I think we're about to go into spoilers. I'll take this time to thank our Patreon producers for the month. So thank you to Tyler Hess, Cindy Palacios, David Short, Borden Now, Al Treisman, Christopher Moy, Brett Williams, and David Brown. They are Patreon producers for the month, meaning they are patrons at $20 or more over at patreon.com/MailFuzzTV. You can go over there and support us for as little as $1 per month. $1 per month will get you access to the back catalogue of all the exclusive bonus episodes we've done on Patreon from streams, as well as bonus episodes from other shows that we have on MailFuzz TV. Those are on pause for a little bit because Tim's about to be a baby daddy, so paternity leave's kicking in soon, and because of that they'll be gone for a little bit, but they'll be back sometime in the spring. But you get access to all the old stuff. $5 tier still gets early access to new episodes by a day. So go and have a look and see if you want to help support all the content that we produce and keep it coming. So thank you. Also, you can support us for free by simply hitting the like button and comment, stuff like that. Rating the podcast on iTunes, all that sort of stuff. All of it does help a lot. It helps spread the show to more people. So thank you kindly. So full spoilers then for Dial Code Santa Claus, aka Deadly Games, aka Game Over, aka Little Ramblers Fantasies. A lot of titles. So one of the key things that I think makes this work as well, that's actually quite smart from like a script writing perspective, is that the grandfather being around but being too old and blind and weak to really do anything, is that it means that this movie's not just about Thomas saving himself, it's also about saving someone else. So it makes him a bit more of a hero. I think the second Home Alone kind of does this, because the second Home Alone has Kevin McAllister. He has that moment where he doesn't have to intervene. He can just stay away from, the wet bandits or the sticky bandits or whatever. But he has that moment where he realizes they're about to rob a toy store that's going to give toys to an orphanage. And he chooses to intervene and to set up his traps and intervene on behalf of someone else. So the second Home Alone kind of does it, but the first Home Alone, it's all about just saving himself, right? It's just about saving his own skin. This movie has Thomas turn around and go back and do whatever he can to save his grandfather. It's about saving his grandfather at times more than saving himself, and it makes him feel like a little hero in a way that the movie may not otherwise achieve. And I think that's actually quite smart. So
yeah, definitely.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, and there's some talk about a difficult choice, when the kid and the grandpa are there kind of hidden away, and you feel like the grandpa in most situations would be no, kid, you stay safe, I'm gonna have to be the one to get us out of this, don't worry. But the grandpa is just kind of yeah, no, you're right. I'm useless. I can't really see. I can't, I'm not too fast or whatever. All right, yeah, you save us.
Yeah, he has to let the kid do it. But the kid does have security cameras. He has he has trap doors. He has all these things in place. He actually has a lot of advantages that most kids wouldn't have, given the situation. And later on in the movie, when the grandpa basically is hidden by he's in the suit of armor in the foyer, so that the Santa won't notice him. Is actually it's probably the most cartoony the movie ever gets, is the idea that they got him in that suit of armor. But and later on he needs his insulin, so the kid has to try and find his insulin and get back to him in time, and it's this race against the clock to save his grandfather. It gives him a lot of stuff to do that isn't just saving himself, which does really shake things up. But we have to talk about a couple of things here. First of all, I want to mention, because I was surprised when it became kind of almost like a revenge thing, because the guy, the second time we see him, he actually, and this was weird to me, but France, I guess, at the time in 1989 whenever they shot this, maybe even 1988 when they were shooting, had public computers that were out in the street. It was almost like it was like an ATM, but it was just a computer you could use to do computer things on, because our main character Thomas is in a chat room, and he ends up getting connected to this guy, and the guy says he's Santa Claus, and he's talking to Santa Claus, and his friend, who's a bit of a bully, he's kind of oh, Santa's no real, and but so I thought, he's going to tell him where he lives over the computer, and that's why he's going to come to the house. It's going to be his fault, but it's actually not, because after this computer moment, the psycho like sees a sign on the department store that has the Thomas's mother runs. That's why she's fairly wealthy, because she runs this big department store, and they're looking for Santas. She wants Santas on every corner to like make people feel Christmassy, and he gets a job, which doesn't go very well. Like literally his first night on the job, which is like Christmas Eve. I don't why they're hiring so late. I don't know.
Yeah.
But he's got like a little girl on his lap, and she basically says, "Oh, you don't look very good. Your beard's fake. You're not the real Santa." And he reacts by slapping this little girl in the face, and it honestly is quite shocking. It's like, whoa,
Yeah.
he just snapped. And Thomas's mother sees this and comes up and fires him on the spot. Like she's very like trying to console the girl because she's crying her eyes out naturally, and he's like, "You're fired. Report to personnel." But when he's there, he overhears the boyfriend character like saying, "Oh hey, yeah, the boss lady's sending a bunch of presents back home for her son, so deliver them." And he goes and sneaks on the van with all the presents. And that's how he gets to the house. So he maybe he just wants to go and play with the kid because he's crazy. But it does kind of feel like part of it's like a revenge thing because, it's her son because she fired me. Sure. Kind of thing.
Yeah. Totally.
So that's kind of your convoluted-esque setup. The important part, though, the big thing is the motivation, because it's not just that he has to survive. The kid needs revenge. The kid needs revenge because, as you alluded to at the very start of this episode, Santa drew first blood because the kid has a dog.
Yeah. Very upsetting.
And this is not
a good dog.
Yeah, this is not a Hollywood. But then the dog puts up with the kid's shit as well. The dog's like playing his games, and the kid like has like a trap door that has a net under it, and the dog gets trapped in it and all that and it's like, the dog puts up with it. He likes the kid, whatever. Like he's a good dog.
Yeah.
So Thomas like wakes up, he falls asleep under the table, like he's waiting to spy on Santa, and this guy, because it's actually just before this where the guy does spray paint his beard and that. It's after he's killed the delivery driver, or maybe the caretaker he kills, but he spray paints his beard and that. And this is super creepy. It really felt like a moment in like a thriller or a serial killer movie where they finally have snapped and they're like suiting up for their thing,
Yeah. Yeah, and like pretty much anytime you see this guy, he just does such a good job of like looking and acting deranged. Like even when he's not saying anything, but he just kind of has these little growls or something that he's doing, or this kind of like like nervous tick laughter. It just anytime you see him, it just feels very unhinged and dangerous.
It's a good performance. It's definitely a good performance. Yeah. He I say it's very Taxi Driver is what it's making me think of. Just the way he's in the mirror, like sort of smelling at himself as he's spray painting his hair white. But he does come down the chimney, and he comes down, and Thomas is all excited until the dog runs in and starts biting at him and growling, because the dog detects danger, of course. And so, not that dogs won't be killed in like Hollywood movies, because they will be, but I feel like there's like a sensitivity to it because they know it'll upset people, so they don't do what this movie does, which is much like this movie treats killing the dog like killing a human, meaning that it's happy to show it. It's happy to show the stab, and it's pretty dark where you're not used to seeing animals be killed on screen like this. Now, obviously, they didn't really kill a dog. It's right. It's obviously an effect. It's just like killing a human is, but it's not a visual I think we're used to seeing in most movies.
Yeah.
So it's pretty dark. But yes.
Yeah, so I mean, I never like to see animals get hurt in movies, but I do like later on when they do have the very like action movie kind of thing where he has to bury his like comrade.
This is so unbelievably amazingly over the top. So there's a scene where this like sad song starts playing with piano, and I think it may be written for the movie. I mean, it's in English admittedly, so maybe not, but it's actually talking about like Christmas, and it's talking about revenge, and it's talking about all this stuff. But he's actually carrying the dog like someone in a war carries like a dead body, and the dog's tongue's like hanging out, and the sad music's playing, and he takes his toy katana and his toy like little like army knife and makes a cross out of it and buries the dog, and this like sad music's playing, and then it's right around this time where he like then like there's also a montage, maybe a different montage, but there's a montage at one point. It essentially does the montage from the start again, where he was training and like suiting up and strapping stuff to him and all that, the commando montage. But this time it's serious, because this time he's actually got something to fight. So it's very emotional, and he's like strapping things in, and the way it treats this kid's story is like a wonderful thing. I don't know how to put it. It's wonderful.
I think one of the things that really works about it is that, like, the director, the way he films it is the exact same way they would film like an action movie. Like, it doesn't feel like a comedy director parodying action movies, you know, like it feels like there's an like a, you know, an authenticness to,
it's sincere,
the way he portrays. Yeah. And like like you were saying, like, you know, that montage in the beginning, it's like, oh yeah, like the only reason why, you know, this feels different than like actually watching Rambo or Commando or whatever is because the kid is 10 years old. Like, everything else about it like looks exactly like, you know, you would expect those movies to look.
Yeah, and the fact that it's toys as well, of course.
Well, yeah.
But, you know, he does set traps. He sets like a trap with like 2 crossbows at one point that fire like, you know, playing darts into the side of Santa's neck. And then like a flaming like, you know, like not like a playing dart, but like a toy dart that you have in a toy gun. He like sets that in fire and shoots it at Santa. He actually he's got like a tracking device. He's able to stick like a tracking beacon onto Santa, so he's got like an alien style like sensor, and he's like following Santa through the house. Like, it's so ridiculous he has all this, despite the fact that how rich like his family might be. But it does make it damn entertaining when he starts pulling out all these tricks, and he's trying to like follow Santa around, and he's watching on the cameras, and he ends up having to go out on the roof and like hide from Santa at one point. Yeah, it's just all this delightful stuff.
I mean, maybe I'm asking too much, but I did wish he kind of like utilized the house more, just because I got really excited when, you know, he has this thing on his arm that like can control like the shutters, and like you said, has like you know, this kind of like live feed of like security cameras and stuff, and you know, releases the trap door. But yeah, I was expecting it to really have like a lot more traps, and it's yeah, you know, it doesn't get utilized as much as I thought. But again, that can just kind of be me with like having like too high of expectations or whatever.
No, I mean, I can agree with that. I could have used more of the house stuff being more of a factor. I was definitely happy when he started making more traps, because it felt like there wasn't that many of them up until that point, outside of the one where the floor kind of, you know, collapsed into a net. But but I you know, I felt like it kept doing interesting things with whatever it was doing, so I never felt too let down by it. You know, some of the set pieces where he's able to like send like a fax, because the phone, obviously the killer is taking the phone lines out. He sends like a fax to his friend, as well as like his mum's place of work. It just says, Santa's trying to kill me and my grandfather, sent help. So his kid, even though it's like after midnight, his friend like gets on his bike and comes over. And when he comes in, and in fact, this is the scene where Santa gets to Thomas, and he actually slashes, because the main weapon Santa uses, this is what he uses to kill the dog, but then later on he's also using it to like, this is what he uses to slice Thomas. It's like a cake server. It's just like, you know, that metal kind of like cake scoop spoon that you have. So he actually slashes the back of Thomas's leg, and it feels quite, you know, visceral. But Thomas is able to get away because Santa, you know, the best friend shows up, and Santa has to chase him outside. The best friend does get away on his bike, which it never really comes up again, which I thought was a little bit weird. I thought maybe like when more police show up at some point, because the police do show up, but they show up because the mum and the boyfriend character have like called them in to come check on the house, because they're just, you know, they're worried that they can't get through on the phones, and it's too suspicious or whatever.
Yeah. And admittedly not the same thing, but when he's chasing the kid on the bike, it did kind of remind me of the end of The Shining a little bit, just kind of seeing this deranged guy. Yeah.
I could see that. And there was even like a maze, like it was like an art gallery place in the house. Yeah. This was probably the most. Yeah. This was the most I ever felt like the house had something too weird, bizarrely. Because the traps, I felt like, okay, the kid's built the traps in himself because he's a little weirdo DIY genius, fine. But this weird art gallery, it was kind of like a maze. I was like, why is this in the house? Like, what's the mum doing with this?
that and like the weird hidden toy room that like no one knows about, that was like a bit too much for me. Like it felt like this weird kind of like magical surrealism that isn't really present in the rest of the movie.
I think the toy room they tried to explain by saying that like this was like his father's, his grandfather's, like, all of like generations of like the dads who have owned this house have all put their toys here, so that's why there's so many toys in this weird like hidden room in the middle of the house. I mean, it is a stretch. I don't deny that.
Yeah, it's just it's like so big, like such a big room. If it was just like, you know, like a little extra bedroom or whatever, but it's like it's gigantic, and like you get in there like through a fridge. It's like, all right, so no one else has ever opened this fridge other than like these people. But I mean, it, you know, it's such like a small thing though. It's not like it ruined the movie or anything.
Yeah,
it's just kind of weird.
Yeah. So I mean, Thomas has to like cobble together like a crutch. It's like a part of like a frame or something that he's using to like use as a crutch, and he's sort of hobbling around. But he has to try and get insulin for his grandfather, so he's looking in the bathroom. Santa actually starts to fight back, because after the first couple of times where he's used like a toy to like get to him, because in fact, actually, yeah, when he slices him, it's right after he's tried to use his makeshift grenade to the back of like a toy like truck. He's like driven the truck towards Santa, and he hopes that Santa is like going to blow up with Santa. But Santa winds it up and sends it back, and it's like, oh, Santa's actually starting to like fight back with the toys, and it was actually like a kind of an oh shit moment. But similarly, when he's trying to get the insulin later on, and another remote control truck comes in the bathroom. But the way it sets up this is actually quite good, because the camera, as he's looking for the insulin in the medicine cupboard, the camera goes down to the motion tracker, and you see it coming towards him, like the motion tracker's coming, so you're expecting Santa to pop out. But it's actually just this toy truck with the sensor on it. So Santa found the sensor. Santa's like figuring things out, and this is we've got a fight on our hands. This is a mano a mano like combat scenario here, and that was super exciting. I think those moments of tension where it actually kind of ramped up are like, oh shit, it's actually building a reaction out of me, because it's saying, hey, he might have figured this out. Maybe he should be worried. Those moments were kind of cool.
Yeah,
it does get dark, because when the cop shows up, the cop gets killed again. The way the cop gets killed is kind of weirdly off camera, so that was a little bit confusing in the edit, I'll say that.
Yeah.
But there's some great visuals where they'll get to the car and Santa will be standing in front of the car in the snow and the mist. When the kid takes the cop car and drives it away to try and go get help, Santa's in the back seat, so you get a classic sort of horror movie moment. And we get this really dark thing where like he gets the cop's gun, and it's like, is this kid going to have to kill someone? Is he going to have to kill Santa? And he shoots him. It doesn't quite kill him though, because Santa does show up back at the house when he goes back to help his grandfather, and he comes stumbling in, and the gun gets dropped. There's a struggle between Santa and the kid, and the grandfather, who's now like woken up after getting his insulin injection, goes for the gun, but we see his POV. He can barely see anything. So I was like, are they about to give me the ultra dark ending where he accidentally shoots the grandson? Are they going to give us this ultra dark ending where the grandfather accidentally shoots his grandson because he can't see anything? Luckily,
it's a French film. I wouldn't.
Well, that's the worry, right? That's why you feel after the dog scene, it's like, well, we feel like we're in unsafe territory, because they can go a bit more extreme here, because it's not the safety of Hollywood.
Right.
But no, luckily when the mum shows up, the Santa's been shot, the grandfather's saved his grandson, and the Thomas has just said, I'm sorry, it's my fault, I saw him and he turned into an ogre. And the mum's like, oh shit, this kid's going to have some problems growing up. I may have mentally ruined him for the rest of his life. But all the set pieces are like super fun, and like the moments where you think, oh, the grandpa has to like try and shoot the Santa, but he can't see, or is the kid going to have to shoot someone? That's super dark. Or when the kid actually gets sliced at one point and he's injured, like it really feels like it could go over the line, and arguably in some cases does at the various points. But it feels like there is like a menacing presence to it, where this might end with like I was expecting the grandpa to die. I thought the grandpa was going to like sacrifice himself to save him or something, and like that's not that dark, but it definitely felt like it could have been done that way.
Yeah, no, totally. But yeah, it all like strangely works, and makes it really captivating. And yeah, I think the kid was like seemed like a very good performance that he gave. Like he could do those like action scenes like pretty well. He could make him like very believable, but then like he also did like have the vulnerability of like the scenes when he is a kid and he's like crying for his grandpa or his mom and stuff,
or his
like
dog.
it's yeah,
Because during the montage when he's burying the dog, there was a scene of him sort of like crying as he's like getting ready to gear up. It's so yeah, I think the movie is impressive in what it juggles and the tones that it hits, despite the fact that on paper it sounds like a dumb kids movie. The fact that it takes it so seriously and gives you these menacing things, but at the same time also manages to have like action movie references and treats him like he's a little Rambo is actually kind of interesting.
Yeah, totally. And again, like you mentioned before, but because it does sound like maybe if we're talking more about an action movie, but like you said, the Santa is like so sinister in it that there are some pretty quality like horror moments in it as well.
When he kills the dog and we're just watching it from the perspective of the kid, so it's like just his feet in that, or even later on when he's like just looking around, but when the scene where the kid and the grandpa get to the car because they're trying to escape and the Santa's just standing in front of the car in the snow, like there's a lot of horror movie like scenes and moments and visuals, and the killer does have that menacing like horror movie kind of presence to him.
Yeah. And then it didn't really mention it, but another like Home Alone similarity is like the mother trying to race home to get the to get to the son.
Yeah, I don't think I realized how far away her work was because it takes her a while to get home.
Yeah. She's also like driving pretty fast for like be careful when you're driving in the snow.
Well, she does crash. To be fair, it does actually catch up to her. She does crash for a bit.
Yeah.
I was like, if John Candy shows up and takes her home in his swing band van, then maybe they've got a case. It wasn't swing band, it was a polka band, if I remember right.
Polka. Oh, right.
If you remember, I'm remembering the scene where he's explaining to Kevin McAllister's mom, he's explaining that they're a polka blues band or something like that, I don't know. Polka. I have memories. Like I've seen Home Alone a lot. Okay, so yeah, this movie's kind of a blast. It does have its slow moments. It does have some weird edits in a couple of places, but for the most part, it makes you really care about the kid. It gives you like thrilling sequences. It gives you all the staples. It's really exciting to discover a movie like this because it's like, I thought I'd seen all the good action or horror movies that were set at Christmas that were made in this time period, and it's really fun to find a new one that feels of that era and be like, oh, this is another good one. This is actually might go into the rotation. This might be a Christmas rotation movie now going forward.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, so I happily recommend Dial Code Santa, aka Game Over, aka Deadly Games, aka Little Rambo's Fantasies. I suppose we have to rate it now, but I think I can't sell how unique, despite the fact that it is taking a lot from different things and it's referencing a lot of things. The mix of all the elements that it has is so unique that I do think it is something that people should check out if you like any of the stuff that we've been talking about. For sure. Yeah, I guess we're ready to rate. So, Tim, what are you going to give the movie?
I think I'll give it. I'll go as high as a 7.5. I think.
Ooh.
Like it doesn't quite tip it over. For me to like that kind of great 8 territory. But. Just for the few flaws and a few slow parts here and there. I mean, we already talked about that, but like, those are very minor things. Like, there's still really a lot to enjoy here, and again, I think unique is like a great way to put it. Like, I can't really, even though we do have a lot of, horror Christmas movies that we love, and evil serial killer Santa is not necessarily a new thing, but this movie is definitely like a unique new thing that I can't really say I've seen before. It's it's like it's an experience watching it, which I think those are some of like the best movies, where when you're done, it's not even like you're saying, oh, this is really good or this was really bad. It's like, I just had like an experience. Like I just watched something that I'm pretty sure I'd never seen before that, there's few stuff out there like it. And it's always really fun and admirable. And so I'm happy finally I got to watch it.
Yeah, it's like if the Santa from Christmas Evil was the bad guy in Home Alone, but Kevin McAllister was also trained by John Rambo.
Perfect. That's a perfect way to put it.
Yeah. First of all, you've upped your rating because I saw what you rated on Letterboxd, Tim.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I see you kicking the numbers over there.
Wasn't it just a 3? I thought, which is about a 7.
I would say that's a 6. I'd say that's a 6 because you're still technically you're still rating it out of 10 though, because you can do half stars on Letterboxd.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But fair enough. If you have
a bit.
If you have a different translation from stars to your out of 10, I get it. Technically, they're different. I always rate out of 10 though, so I just think of Letterboxd as out of 10 too.
Okay, that makes more sense. Yeah.
No, I think I'll give it an 8. I think I'm going to. I really like this. I had a blast, and it does slow down a little bit here or there in a couple of moments, but then it speeds right back up, and it does things that were making me smile, and I was like, this is such a find. This is such a gem. And it's almost more exciting that it was like hidden for so long, and now we all get to discover it. And one of the new segments, which you will not see in most of the episodes after December because we've recorded them already, where I look at user reviews on IMDb. There's not actually any funny ones to really point out here. The only thing I wanted to note is that there's one review from 2002, and then every other review after that is all from 2018 onwards. So, just to give you an idea of like how few people got to actually see it before 2018. There's no actual negative. I mean, the lowest rating on here 6 out of 10, and the reviews they're all 7s, 8s. So there's no like bold hot takes that are funny that I can read out, unfortunately. So not all movies are going to have them. I feel like most mainstream ones would, just because you'll find there's enough reviews that you'll find some crazy people in there. I feel like This though is such a narrow like niche, like only the cult movie people are going to watch this one. The
people that are watching this are like people like us that know kind of what they're going into or have like an expectation. So I feel like most people aren't just like randomly throwing it on and being like, what the hell was that?
Yeah. So that's that. So if you made it this far in the review, oh god, what did I put in the there's the word here. Interesting. Put the word Noel into the comments, because that's what the French say when they talk about Santa Claus and Christmas.
Okay.
Noel. So there you go. We're being cultural. Tim is going to do his pose for the thumbnail. So here we go. 3, 2, 1, pose. If I can Photoshop on some war paint onto Tim's face, I might do it.
Unfortunately, I wish I had some props. If I had some cool sunglasses or like a little toy gun or something, I would have grabbed it.
Or a red headband or something.
Yeah.
There you go. So there you go. That is Dial Code Santa Claus, aka Deadly Games. I won't do all the titles, but those are the two main ones. So no, let us know what you think of the movie. If you've seen it in the comments, please do like and subscribe. We mentioned Patreon earlier, patreon.com/MailFuzzTV. Go over there. Do all these things. They help us out a lot. Catch us on Twitters at Screams Midnight for updates, but also just general sort of wacky ramblings from Tim and myself, as well as find ourselves on Twitter. You can find me at Wibble89, Tim's at Tim Virgulish. I know you changed it, didn't you?
I think it's Goatman TV now, or Goatman Tim V.
At Goatman Tim V. Okay.
Yeah.
He's not sure.
Yeah. If you check our just check the Screams feed, and then you'll probably see me liking or responding to something.
There you go. Yes, daisy chain it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So So yeah, go over to Twitter and check us out on there. But otherwise, that is us. We got one more Christmas movie for you next week. It's a doozy, so look forward to that. But this has been our Game Over, Deadly Games, Dial Code Santa Claus review. Thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching scary movies. Merry Christmas, and we will see you next time.